Hey everyone, am I live? I'm using different streaming software this morning, so I'm hoping it's working. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and everything is okay. Hopefully I'm not doing any like crazy echoing or who knows what. But I'm using different streaming software today so that I am able to do the vertical streaming and the horizontal streaming at the same time. So I'm hoping I'm going to get that to work. Who knows if it will? I've had some difficulty testing this out last night. Actually went live accidentally. Looks like my frame rate is off a little bit. I guess if that's the worst of it, I can figure that out another time. But I apologize for the choppy output. Hopefully it won't be as noticeable when I switch over to my iPad screen where I can start drawing. But glad the audio is good. Let me just check in with the chat. Tori Stahl, how's it going? Nice to see you. Moisa, Skippy McHaggis. Lots of regulars here. Will, Kohiko, Alfonso, nice to see you. Laura Lori, Diana Lisa, good morning to you. Thank you for the compliment on my shirt, Kohiko. This is from Wizard of Barge. It's my favorite shirt. It says feelings, which is pretty funny. Like feelings. Trent Langley, how's it going? Yeah, I apologize that the sound is off a little bit. I don't want to try to fix it right now because it may break. But yeah, let me just quickly try to get the other stream going. Trent Langley, I agree. Wizard does do some cool stuff. Stream setup, connecting software to start a preview. Oh, there we go. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Cool. All right. It looks like I got my live stream situation going too. Hopefully that doesn't affect anything over here. I do have to manage two chats, so not really sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. I'm using OBS this time. I had been using Ecamm before, but Ecamm does not allow me to simultaneously do the vertical and the horizontal. But that's besides the point. You're here for the drawing, so let's check it out. If you are watching in the live stream and you want to get the full experience, go to the horizontal one. Okay, let me switch over to my iPad screen and we can start drawing some names. Obviously, well, not obviously, as I've mentioned in the past and in the description, I do these first come, first serve. So I start at the top of the chat, unless it's someone whose name I've already drawn. You are able to skip the line if you'd like by doing a super chat of $10 and up. That way I can keep it fair because I do want to do this first come, first serve. But, you know, there's ways to cheat the system, if you will. So I do these live streams every Friday if you are new. So come check them out. And I don't always draw names, but I like to do it. It's a fun thing to do. So the first comment is Moissa, and I don't remember. I feel like I've maybe drawn that name, but I don't know if I have actually. I think you're just there in the chats often. So I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go. So hope everyone is having a good Friday so far. I'm drawing here in Adobe Fresco, as always, is my preferred drawing app. I'm on my iPad. And just quickly write the name down. And let's see. Usually the first drawing of the day is, it's a little tricky, but sometimes you got to get into it. So instead of starting with the first letter, I'm going to start with the O because it's round, and I'm going to build the M and the O. Whoa. I think I just had a seizure. The M and the E around it to make kind of a cool shape, I think. Like that. And maybe pull the E over. Could be kind of fun. Maybe we could exaggerate it a little bit more. Let me bring down the transparency here and rotate this. So maybe I can have a bigger O. Like that, and then maybe this M can kind of taper like that. And I want to match that shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this M and copy and then paste it and then flip it. And then use the modifier to lock the x-axis and then pull it over here. And now I can use this as a guide to get the shape of the E. So I'll just kind of, I'll switch back to the brush. I got my mic in my face. It's blocking my view. So I'm just going to get that overall shape like this to get the E. Like that. Okay, and then let's see. Now we just gotta figure out what we're gonna do for Issa. Maybe we'll do like a banner type thing. And then put the Issa in there. All right, so I think this will be good enough to work from. Let's merge this all down. All right. Bring down the transparency. Let's do this. I'm going to do this in vector. I'm going to use my vector presets. I'm going to use my VV Sharpie for my gritty vector presets. If you are catching this in the vertical stream, maybe head over to my channel because you can see this full screen in my horizontal version. And that's the chat I'm able to respond to a little bit easier. I have both chats up, but it's hard to look at all of them. So I'm going to use my vector trimming to cut off the extra stuff there. And now I'm going to do a new layer to draw this O in so that if I don't draw it perfectly straight, I can maneuver it easier. Like that. Can center it. Okay. And now let's, actually, I'm going to do the M separate as well. That way I can flip it to do the, to use as a guide for the E. And I'm actually going to use this, the banner shape like that. And I'm making sure to draw through the lines because I'm doing the vector trimming. Like that. Yeah, if you are in the vertical stream, feel free to head over to my channel to get the full deal. I'm doing the vertical stream simultaneously because, you know, YouTube is pushing it, so it's helpful for discovery. And as a newish channel, that's important for me to keep this sustainable. I got to build the audience a little bit so that I can, you know, keep doing this. All right, let's bring this over. Bring down the opacity. Now it looks like mom. This would be a good drawing for mom. Is it Mother's Day? I don't think it's Mother's Day. So if you're new, I post new videos every Tuesday morning, and I do live streams every Friday. And Tuesday's video is I drew a bunch of X-Men characters in the style of SpongeBob, and I had way too much fun doing it. So that video goes through that process. I do a whole bunch of them in the video. I think you might like it. As I talk through my process and decision making for why I'm doing it. So check that out. Okay, so I think I just heard my cat make a crazy noise upstairs. Okay, trim. So, sorry for the yelling. And be careful when you're doing the vector trimming. Okay, so let's fill these in. Can merge it down. And let's make this banner black too. And then turn my sketch back on so I can figure out these lettering. Happy Friday, Andrew JD. Finkdes, if that's how you say it. Good morning. Jake Howley. Is there a quick way to copy, cut, and paste? So, I mean, just you tap on the layer and choose copy and paste. I don't know if there's a faster way to do it because it's, I think maybe you could set up a hotkey if you were on Windows and using like a desktop or something, but because it's on the iPad, I don't think there's a way to do that, but maybe I'm wrong. All right, so I'm realizing that the ISA lettering there is doesn't fit that shape very well, so I'm gonna do a new sketch for that before I go directly into vector. So I'm gonna start with the trickier spot. So like this A, I want to sort of fit that angle. I think I'm gonna do an uppercase I because the name is short and there's not a lot of, the letters aren't gonna take up a lot of room. Then maybe we can just kind of flow the S's like that. Okay, so now I can use that to make a better version. So to keep the angle consistent, I think that'll look good. What I'm gonna do is draw this all the way across and like reuse as much of it as I can to make it look, I don't know, like it flows with the shape nicely. At least that's the goal. Okay. So I know this looks crazy right here, but I'm going to use the trimming to get rid of what I don't need. So some of it might not work. Let's see. Okay, so I think I need to erase these parts where the S is, because the S is a little trickier. And again, I'm working in vector at the moment. I don't think I'm gonna do all of them in vector, but I'm using my gritty vector presets, which are available in my shop. I don't have a pop-up in OBS yet because I'm still learning how to use it, but there is a promo code for my shop for the live stream, which is just live. So feel free to use that. Okay, so let's turn that off. The S's are terrible. So I think my plan backfired there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freestyle it. Sometimes you got to just freestyle. Okay, so the top part is okay, but I want the bottom to match the curve a little bit better. All right. And then maybe we can just beefing them up a little bit, put a little letter meat, if you will. And again, if you are watching this in the vertical stream, head over to Happy Times on my channel in the vertical one. All right, is this still a sketch? No, okay. Let's merge this all down. And we got one down. Move that over there. It's vector, so we don't have to worry about resolution. Sister, how's it going? Sally Carson, and nice to see you. How is everyone doing? Let us scroll up to the top. I just need to make sure that I am not missing any super chats, because super chats can cut the line. I do remember seeing earlier someone asked that I drew their name a couple weeks ago and they wanted that image. Just shoot me an email. It's chris@chrispiascik.com. If you don't know how to spell that, you can just click the link to my website. There might be an email thing in the description, but just Google it, or Instagram. You can message me on Instagram too. I would actually email me, because sometimes if I don't know you, if I don't follow you on Instagram, it goes into the requests and there's a lot of them in there. So there's that. Okay, so next up is Tori Strahl, who's a channel member, but I don't believe Super Sporter, and I don't think I've drawn your name. Fun fact, all of my channel members, well, all the Super Sporters and above, get their name drawn and included in all the videos that I make while they're active members. So that's another way to get your name drawn. But I don't think Tori's a Super Sporter, so we're going to go right into Tori's name because she is up next. T-O-R-E. Wow, this chat window in the not eCam is small, and I want to make sure I'm spelling the name right. S-T-R-A-H-L. Let me double check. Okay, cool. Glad you liked your name, Melissa. All right. Let's draw Tori's name. So, because there's a Y, I'm wanting to do script maybe. I just can't help myself. So maybe we'll do a script. Maybe we can like connect it. Oh, maybe into the L. I don't know. When I'm doing script, I just sort of like scribble first to see if there's any like connections. Sometimes it can be a messy process. I think that going into the L is weird, but I'm realizing now that maybe it could go into the H might be a better solution. So this there's a lot of scribble action when I'm trying to figure out script, if I want to like find a way to make them fit together nicely. Maybe it's instead of going to the H, maybe it could like cross the T, but then the S, I don't know. See, there's a lot of experimenting here. Then it could actually go into the, oh, we forgot the R. See, it's why you gotta write it down and keep checking. So it's like just sort of playing around, trying to see what will work. That might be a little messy. I'm not loving this chaos with the T and the Y happening. So I will, again, I just keep bringing down the opacity and trying to sort of iterate based on that. So what I'm doing now is just writing the last name, and I'm going to look and see if there's another way to incorporate the top part. So maybe if the Y fit here into that negative space, then like could do something like that could be interesting. And then this S could do that, but maybe we could fit the Y above that. So it's just this constant iterative process for me, especially with script. So now I sort of focus on like the problem areas, like what's not working. So I think maybe this T can lower a little bit like that. And then the Y can sort of tuck in like that. And then that's looking kind of cool. And then we can work on the rest of that. Okay, and the T. And then, okay, so let's delete that sketch. Now let's double check our spelling. I'm realizing we forgot the E. Is anyone telling me in the chat? The E, so Tori, you see it too. Sorry, I messed it all up. But I caught it before we did the final, so it doesn't count. Okay. EY. We're going to fix it. I'm back. We're back. Okay. Sorry, Tori. We need a bell to get Chris's attention. Oh, boy. Toilet stall. Oh, no. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, but I want to do one more Tori straw. You just made me say stall. Okay. I want to do one more iterative version to just kind of, I'm not crazy about the top of the T right now. I think it could flow a little better. So I'm going to draw some baselines in to sort of help with the letter shape. This is a trick that I often do when I am doing script lettering. So it like helps me to kind of get it to flow a little nicer. It gives it a little bit more shape. So I'll use that, pull that down lower, and then I'll sort of draw to those lines. This is like my baseline and my X height. And it'll make it look a little bit more cohesive, ideally. Sometimes when I try to like finesse it like this, and then I look at the new version and I'm like, oh, it lost all of its, I don't know, like flow. Like I also just realized that I lost the space for the T. So again, this is why sketching is helpful. If I just tried to do this just winging it, I would never find like the discoveries and like these connections. So this process, I think, is really helpful in like getting a more unique final result. All right, so let's don't like that. Okay. Mad Titan, I think I've seen a couple times you asked if I could do Chaco. So I do the first come, first serve unless someone like cuts the line with a super chat. So I do that to try to keep it fair. So maybe we'll see. Okay. All right. So I like that this kind of thing mirrors the top one. Things feeling okay. So let's delete all this other stuff. Let's turn off Melissa for a second. And let's bring this over here. And I guess I'll do this one in vector 2. I'll use my gritty Sharpie again. I think the grittier line will give this a nice, hand-drawn look than a clean line. All right, so I'm starting down here because that was the area that had a little bit of an issue, and I like to kind of do that stuff first, and then I can build the rest around it. And like this H angle is a little bit weird, so I'm going to fix that up. And then it looks like we're going to need a little bit more space for that L, so we can do that. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. And then let's get this, the crossbar on the T. Make that loop a little bit smaller. Okay, now we can lower this R just a tiny bit, like that. And then with the vector trimming, I'm going to just trim off that extra part and then shorten that H a little bit. And now I can pull this line through following the baseline of the rest. Also realizing that this H should come down a little bit lower. Using the modifier in the first option lets you use the brush as an eraser, which is really helpful when you're doing something that has a little bit of a texture, because then the eraser matches the texture. Gogster, you said, when you drop the opacity, your image completely disappears on my screen. Oh, interesting. I think I probably have it really low. I can turn it up a little bit. I think it could just be that you don't have as much contrast as the iPad display, or we're losing some quality over the stream. So that could be the case. I apologize. So I'm going to flip this right upside down because it'll be easier for me to draw this Y shape. And then I'm going to turn it this way so I can pull this loop up and connect it to the H. And then I'm going to come back over here to pull this R over a little bit further to the right. Okay, and now we can do the T. I'm going to draw through that line so that I can make it nice and clean at the top. And then let's just do this top part, curl that up a little bit, trim that off. And I think I just want to do like an outline or like a shape around this. So I'm going to do a new layer below, and I'm just going to kind of trace around the shape, but just giving it a little bit of extra room and simplifying it a little bit. Trent, you're saying the whole gang is here to make a mistake? Is there another mistake that I made? Cosmic Coffee. Are you still using a matte screen protector? So I am. I always need to use one. I can't stand the feel of bare glass. I don't have the wiggly line issue, but I do use the streaming, the smoothing a lot. So like when you're in your brush settings, like if I'm not sketching, I have smoothing all the way up. I turn the smoothing down to sketch because I need to be able to work faster. But once I know what I'm doing, I use the smoothing all the way up to get just, I like really clean lines. So maybe try that. Otherwise, I don't know what it could be. So I think I'm going to try making this black and then making the letters white. And I think that looks kind of cool. I'm into it. Hopefully you like it, Tori. Sorry for spelling your name wrong originally, but I fixed it. Move that up there. Move it, put it right there. Let's go a little bit smaller. Okay. All right, let's put that up on the screen, and now let's find the next one. Oh, okay. All right, so the next person is Trent, but I already drew your name, Trent, so I'm going to skip you for now, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Skippy McHaggis, you're next, and I drew you last time. Will is the next name, and it's just a short little name. So I'm just going to draw Will, because that's next up on the list. And Will, you are also experiencing the opacity thing. So I will be less aggressive with my opacity. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my sketching brush because I can't just be sketching with my inking brush. Joe 2 Grand, do you use the drawing pad still? So I use, I'm currently using the Sketchboard Pro 2. I also like the Astropad Darkboard. But I love using one of these things. Makes the iPad just feel so much nicer, bigger, more comfortable. I'm not having to rest my hand directly on the iPad the whole time. So there's that. So I think I'm just going to come in here and just freestyle some wiggly letters for Will because it's a short name. And I think I'm just in the mood to do it. I'm going to do some wiggly, fat, chunky, blobby letters like this. Let's actually maybe tuck the L's. That'll be fun. Okay. Maybe because it's a short name, we'll do drippy letters. I haven't done drippy letters in a while. I like drippy letters. So I want to, when you do drippy letters, a pro tip is to, when you're doing the drips, you want to make sure that they're all vertical. I found that sometimes when people are starting to do them and they're rotating the artboard around, they'll have drips like going different ways. It looks a little bit weird. So I'm not even going to sketch the drips. I'm just going to wing it. So I'm going to do vector again because that's helpful to get nice sharp points with the trimming. And I'm just going to use my crispy liner from my crispy vector presets, which I'll link below. Also, again, if you are watching this from the vertical stream, you can head over to my channel to see the full vertical version, I mean the horizontal version of this, for a much better experience. So with the drips, just try to make them varied and not the same shape. So maybe like a bigger, maybe we'll do a two situation there. And then because this is vector, I can draw right through these shapes to make the line nice and continuous, and then we can just cut them out afterwards. So maybe an overlapping one like that. Again, I'm making sure my canvas is straight so that I make my drips going straight down. Sometimes what I like to do when letters are next to each other is maybe make them sort of look like they're kind of attached to each other, if that makes sense. Pro tip from Guagster, you could always use the grid in Fresco to make sure that you are dripping the right way. That is a good pro tip. I always forget to do that because I'm lazy. All right, let's do some trimming on this so we can see what it actually looks like. Get a feel for our drippies. Okay. I don't have my background. I think that, see right there, those two drips are like too similar. Don't like that. I like to try to make it look a little bit more just varied, and I think that looks better. Maybe we can have like a longer drip on this one, and then maybe it like overlaps like this. And maybe this can make a bigger one over here. And then just making that line a little lumpy because it's drippy, oozy slime stuff. Hopefully this vertical stream, well, see, you don't want to put them in the same spot. Hopefully this vertical thing is actually working, and YouTube is like, let me just put you in front of all these new people, and just my channel is gonna just soar. We are in new growing mode situation here. Okay, let's do some trimming. Trim. If discovery is actually happening for me right now, and you are new, I post new videos every Tuesday. I'm an illustrator. Worked with lots of cool big clients like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Google and I don't know, lots of them. And I post illustration stuff. I do a lot of Adobe Fresco stuff just because that's what I like to draw with. And I do lots of lettering. I got some classes on Skillshare. I have a new class that's an introduction to hand lettering or illustrative lettering, which is just sort of like, you know, making illustrations based around letters. All right. Now, I always do my names just in black and white on here to keep things simple and keep things moving, but I think I'm going to do some color for this because I think it's really going to enhance the slime situation. So let's just do it real quick. So I'm going to turn this to a reference layer and then do a new layer below. Actually, instead of doing that, I'm going to make it a little bit easier. I'm going to release the reference, and instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is just duplicate the layer and then fill this in. Sometimes the vector fill can give a little bit of a weird halo. Sometimes it's a preview thing, but if I do it this way, I'll sort of not have that issue, especially because I'm just duplicating the layer below, and then it won't have to worry about that. And then what I want to do now is just add in a little bit of like a shadow layer. So I'm going to take the same green and I'm just going to pull it down a little bit and then just kind of come in here and just accentuate some of these drippy spots to just give it a little shape. And also use it to help separate the letters to just give them a little bit of more distinction in between, like this here. We'll do like a shadow that separates those two letters. I think we're setting a bad precedent here using color, since I like to keep these in black and white just for these streams to keep things moving. I try to not noodle too much so that I can get a lot of them done. I always feel bad that I can't just do them all day and draw everyone's name. But again, if you are a super supporter and above channel member, you get your name drawn and included in all the videos that I make while you are an active member. Also, did you know we have a Discord channel? There's so many great people in there. There's a link to it in the description. If you're interested in finding out about channel memberships, there is a link to that as well. All right, let's just come in here, add in a little bit more highlight so we can move on to the next one. I guess also this is just a short name, so that helps. All right, then one last thing that I like to do is, because it's slime, maybe we put some slime dots. I'm gonna make the brush a little bit smaller and then just do a couple inner shadow color drips to just add to it. Make it real slime ridden. And then because it's wet and gooey, we just need a few little drippy highlights to just make it moist and slimy. And this is done with my crispy vector presets. I also have a video on how to make your own vector brush presets if you want to just do it yourself. But you can also get mine from my shop. There's Will. Hope you like it, Will. Let's put it in with the others. 3 down. All vector today for some reason. Sally Carson, you said you recently did an illustration for a bikeway in Massachusetts and added some hand lettering using your device. That's awesome. I used to live in Massachusetts and did a lot of bike riding there, so pretty cool. Susie Garner jumped in with the super chat and swoops in to get her name drawn. And she said that she loves my channel. Did you hear that? Thank you, Susie. I really appreciate that. Let's make a new layer. Come back to my sketch brush. I like to use the Retro Supply Co. Scumbler from their liner set. When I'm using pixel brushes, I really like their classic inker, which is also in the liner set. You can find a link below to those. If you're using Adobe Fresco, they use Fresco uses Photoshop brushes. But those two brushes are like my go-tos when I'm doing most of my drawing that's not vector, which is most of it. Okay, so let's just write the name down so we don't mess this up. Suzie, and then Garner. You guys can all use your eagle eyes to make sure I don't spell this wrong. Garner. Okay, cool. Matt Gates, hopefully you're not the horrible politician Matt Gates. I do these first come, first serve, unless there's a, you can jump the line with a $10 and up super chat, just like Susie just did. But to keep things fair, I like to do them first come, first serve. Okay, so glad you liked it, Will. Gwogster just pointed out that there is 71 people watching right now, and there's only 10 likes. Now that is a crying shame. Can we some smash some thumbs? Take my thumbs, just smash them. Smash all the thumbs. Like and subscribe. This is YouTube. What's up, YouTube? What am I doing now? I'm drawing Susie Garner. Let's use some shapes. Shapes are a fun way to do some lettering. So maybe we'll do like a wiggly line like I did before, but maybe it's like a wiggly angular line like this. Maybe could try that. And then we can offset it with like an opposite. So it's like shorter on this side and then like maybe like that. I don't know. Is that a good shape? Sometimes it's hard to know. Sometimes I'm just making stuff. Let's bring down the opacity. Let me turn on my smoothing a little bit so I can do this better. Let's get some angles. Get some angles to work with. Like that, maybe. And then let's pull that in like that. And then this one, like, not like that, like that. And then okay, so we'll use that as our framework. Erase this extra stuff so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Okay, so once you have that, what you can do is stop doing the modifier. Okay, delete that layer. Bring down the opacity. I'm going to just bring it down a little bit so everyone can see it. And then a good step is to just simply write the letters into the framework so that you can use it as a guide so that you don't run out of space. So doing this test, I say, hey, look, I messed up. There's not enough room there. So normally I would do a new layer so that I could just bring down the opacity, but I'll just try again, being a little bit more conservative with my spacing. There we go. Okay, so we've got that, and now we're not thinking about that for style. We're just using it to just sort of give us a map for the spacing. Okay, so I think I want to be a little bit more playful and not directly use this. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm seeing this Z and it makes me want to kind of use this shape to have the Z kind of split the two words. Excuse my voice. Let me get a sip of water. Made that a little too thick. Okay. And then let's see. I don't know what I'm going to do with the other letters yet. I'm just sort of in the stage where I'm just sort of freestyling, seeing how the letters will work together, experimenting, playing around, having a good time, and not worrying too much about what it's going to look like. This is all very experimental at this point. So I think to balance this out, maybe we could do the same thing with the R down here. So like this leg of the R could maybe come in across the bottom like that, maybe. Shayna Piascik, my lovely partner in life, is asking how the bird was, because during the last live stream, there's been a bird that has been violently attacking my window, and has done it every single day since that live stream. It was doing it this morning after last night I coated the window with dish soap, because that's something I read on the internet that might help. And I think maybe just some of it came off. So I put more stuff on the window, and so far it's been okay. Okay, so let's turn off this original one and let's double check the spelling. I haven't seen anyone heckling me yet. Trent Langley is time traveling. I don't know what's happening. All right, Susie Garner. Okay, cool. I spelled it right. So let's not delete that. Let's merge this down. Let's get rid of that. Let's move. I'm gonna move some stuff over. Let's move Will over here for now. I like to keep these other ones visible while I'm drawing every now and then, just so that, like, you know, because the sketching phase is pretty ugly. And I'm like, well, no, look, I did some nicer ones earlier. This is my proof of concept. Okay, let's bring down the opacity and let's see what we can do to tighten this up. So the GA is looking a little bit jammed in there. So what I'm thinking I'll do is break the, like, there's no reason that line has to start there. So I think what I'll do is just pull the G back a little bit. And now I'll start to kind of stylize the letters a little bit more. Maybe they can overlap a little bit. that. And oh, hey everyone. I'm concentrating very hard, which is why I was being quiet for a second. So because I'm overlapping these, when there's letters that have just like two verticals like this side by side, I like to just sort of rotate it a little bit just so it's not like a perfect angle. I just feel like it looks a little bit better and separates them. But I don't want that to just be like the only ones that do that. So I'll try to make sure that all of them are kind of rotating a little bit. Because I did this like curved baseline, I think it really makes that work out pretty well. I also try to make it so they overlap decisively and it's not just like right up against the edge, because then that gets like a weird visual tangent. And then pull this R up like that. Okay, so I think that's looking kind of cool. And then what I'm going to do is shift the Susie up a little bit so that there's a separation between the two words, but they're still following that same baseline. Tabitha Nichols, thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Let's pull this Z in. Maybe we could taper that a little bit. And then let's draw the U and overlap the Z a little bit. Oh, the bird has just hit the window again. It realized that I was tricking it by putting soap on the window and that its reflection was still there and it needed to pound its face into my window. All right, so let's make a better S. Let's maybe just do like a more simple one like this. Okay, I think this is enough to do a tighter version. I think we're going to do vector again. I think we're in vector mode today for some reason. I usually don't do them all vector. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger. I think it needs a little bit more angle like that. And I think this one needs some clean lines again. So I'm going to use my crispy liner. And just gonna draw this in. And because I want crisp lines, I'm drawing through. That way I can just trim off what I don't need to make those corners nice and tight. Though it does look a little chaotic if you're not used to it during the process. So I think I'll stop and straighten it up a little bit after the Z. Okay. Double tap the modifier to get the blue circle on the outside, and then you can just kind of come in here and cross out what you don't want. It's very satisfying. All right, I think there was only one bird hit so far. Skipping McHaggis said, this week vector, last week all one-shots. I forgot about that. I was in the zone last week and just like not even really sketching. I was just sort of doing them, and it was fun. You can check out the recording of that live stream on my live streams playlist. Okay, let's trim some of these off. I need to get the background music figured out in OBS that I was using in Ecamm, because these silences are a little awkward. So I've got a package of stuff from Pen Tips to test out, and when they first sent stuff, they gave me, let me back up. When they first sent me stuff to test out, I had a worn out paper-like screen protector on, and so it was like pretty smooth. And their new Pen Tips 2 Plus, I believe, was what I put on my Apple Pencil, and it was so good. I loved it so much. But I needed to replace the paper-like, and I put on their matte magnetic screen protector, which I'm using right now, but it was considerably more textured than the worn out paper-like, and then that pencil tip did not feel good on it. So I haven't been using it, but I really miss it because it was like the best Apple Pencil tip feeling I ever had. I just need to find the right combination of screen protector and pencil tip. I think it actually probably would be great on just the bare glass, but I don't like touching the bare glass. It's like a weird texture thing for me. It's too, I don't know, too smooth or sticky or something. But if you're someone who doesn't use a screen protector, I think that Pen Tips 2 Plus is amazing. It has just the right amount of texture. It's not like rubbery, just feels great. Speaking of testing, I've also been trying to find time to test out this, it's like a iPad alternative on Android, is what's it called? The Magic Pad or something. It's been pretty good so far. I'm just, very much like an Apple fanboy, and that's like all I've been using forever. So like the Android operating system is a bit much for me at the moment. So I'm still figuring that out, and I have to like learn different software for drawing, because Fresco is not on there or anything that I've ever used before. I think I installed Clip Studio to test out. So look for a video on that somewhat soon. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in seeing so that I have more motivation to finish that video. But they're pretty affordable, and the screen has a nice matte texture to it, which I really like, so you don't need an extra screen protector. And the pen that it comes with has those felt tip nibs that I used to love when I used to work on a Cintiq. They feel very similar, almost the same. So there's that. Kohiko, you said your Apple Pencil tip skips little parts sometimes. Yeah, that is usually when I know that I need to change my tip, when it starts to skip. Okay, so this is pretty good, but I'm realizing that I don't love how the end of this E ends right at the end of that R, so I'm going to redraw that a little bit longer. So first I will do that leg of the E, and then what I'll do is just make that a better line first. And I'll just pull that over. And then I need to actually extend these lines so that I can trim the rest of that off. Okay. What do we got to do there? We got a little problem area. We can just redraw that line. Little tiny piece. There we go. Okay. All right. So this is pretty good, but what I would like to do is make it like have a little bit of a 3D effect. So let's go ahead and fill this in white. And then duplicate this and then fill it in black. And then we're going to turn it into like a 3D effect thing. So I'm going to put this white one on top and then move this one over here. Make it a little bit smaller. Down like that. And now I'll just connect these starting points. So just connecting, you know, where the lines start. I'm going to draw one in there. There, 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 there. Like that. I'm just like kind of filling this whole area in so that I can use the paint bucket to fill that in all at once. And then like that. Then connect to this. We can just erase that extra little bit afterwards. Fill that in. Okay, so now I'm just going to erase a couple spots. Just going to simplify that a little bit, even though it's not completely accurate. I think it's just unnecessary complication. And then just trim off that little thing. And then one more there. Oh. There we go. Susie Garner. Merge that down. Move that over there. Thanks, Susie. Hope you like it. Man, so some Apple Pencil tips wear down very quickly. It depends on your screen protector. Like this matte one, this magnetic one from Pen Tips wears down pencil tips pretty quickly. I think the one that did it the most was the Bellamon paper. That one was pretty aggressive. Let's see. If you are watching this from the vertical stream, you should head over to my channel and get the full horizontal version. I'm streaming both places now to, help with the reach. Moving up to the top of the chat to do another name. Next up is Alfonso, I don't think I've drawn your name before. Let's do it. Maybe I have. It's hard to remember. I don't think I have, so I'm going to go for it. Let me just write this one down. A-L. Turn down my smoothing. P-H. I lost it. Okay. O-N-Z-O. Is that correct? I'm paranoid now because of messing up earlier. And then S-O-L-R. Zano. Solorzano. Did I do that correctly? Yes. Okay. Clint Silverhorn, good morning to you as well. It looks like you are in the vertical chat. You should come over to my channel and go into the horizontal one that's streaming right now as well. I'm simultaneously streaming vertical and horizontal. The horizontal one's a better experience, but you know, if you're in the vertical and you want to be there, you be there. You can do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? I just trying to please everyone here. All right, let's draw this long name. Let's do some wiggly, trippy-ish letters or something. So let's do some like angular shifty baseline, just sort of fun, playful stuff. Tuck some letters, make it just weird. Maybe the H comes up here. Maybe this O is like that. Sometimes when I'm doing this kind of thing, I just need to get an initial draft down, and then I can sort of come back in and figure out ways to make it work better. But just sort of starting iteratively like this is good. So before I do the last name, I want to figure out how I'm handling this shape, because I think there's some interesting things happening, but I want to sort it out first. So I want to make it a little bit skinnier. Actually, it might be fun to try using some liquify a little bit. So if I go into transform, liquify, and then warp, we can kind of push it around a little bit. Make it even more weird. And then maybe we can use that to play off of for the last name. So maybe and then let's tuck in this O here. Making that tail of the L really long so I can kind of tuck the O up in there. It also gives us some more space because the letters are smaller. We can do the same thing with the R maybe. And this is this Z. We got lots of stuff sort of flowing into each other. It's getting kind of wild, but I think it'll be fun. And then, okay, so now we can take this and make it better. So let's make sure I didn't spell anything wrong here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to bring the opacity up a little bit higher so it's easier to see. I'm going to switch to my inking brush so that I can sort of be more intentional with these lines and how they work. And I want to find where these letters are sort of interacting and figure out those connections. So I think I'm going to start over here with this O and like figure out, so like this is Z, I don't want it to kind of bump into it. So we kind of fit that together. I'm sort of like making a puzzle maybe. And this, the Z can go like that. And then we can take this N, pull that in like that. And now I'm going to move down to the bottom so that I can get this A to kind of fit there, because right now that N was coming down too low and not giving space for that. And again, after I do this round, I'm going to have to go back again to kind of finesse the shapes a little bit, because I can't really get the best results for these like curves flowing together, because I'm thinking about how they fit with the other letters right now. So we can make it even better the second time around. And I think here, so like this Z, the top of the Z is a little short, and I want to move it over, but the R is already too skinny. So what I'm going to do instead is take this Z and just pull the top over, and then we can tuck the top and the counter of the R into that shape maybe. Yeah, okay. And then we're already pulling this, the leg of the R down here, so that sort of, I think, will work nicely. So I just switched to my inker to make it more clear what I'm doing and just make it easier to see, but I'm not, this isn't like the final line work. I'm still solving problems here. Ayaz Street, thank you so much. Again, everyone in the vertical chat, maybe head over to the horizontal one on my stream to get the best experience. Misha is a community who's worked with both iPad Pro and Air. Replace an iPad Pro isn't in the budget. Should I wait 6 months, save for a Pro or Airs? So I think anything with like the Apple M chip, like even the M1, is going to be more than adequate, especially if you're using Fresco. Fresco is very well optimized for the iPad. So I, as like a professional who illustrates for a living and does 99% of his work on an iPad, I'm still using an iPad Pro from 2021. It's an M1 iPad Pro because I haven't had the need to upgrade. I still don't have the need to upgrade. I don't have anything that has performance issues. However, I will be upgrading to the new one, but solely because I'm a little bit of a nerd and I'm excited about upgrading, and I like to do that. But this is the longest. Like I usually don't go this long on things because, again, I'm a little bit of a nerd about this stuff. But this thing is super robust. So Shayna Piascik, who was in the chat, has the M1 iPad Air and no issues. She's also an amazing illustrator, and she has, that thing works great for her. I even have an iPad mini that has no problem with Fresco. And that thing's like a glorified iPhone. So my point is that iPads have been overly powered for a very long time, and you certainly don't need the Pro. I just realized I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, there's a P up here, and we don't have enough space for it. See, this is why we're in the problem solving stage. Okay. Okay, so let's turn off that lower sketch and look at this one and make sure we didn't miss any letters. Alfonso, Solorzano. Okay, cool. So now we can do a tighter version based on this. So what I'm going to do is delete that. Actually, you know what? We've done them all in vector so far. We'll do this one in vector too. Then we can get some nice tight lines. All right, let's grab my crispy liner from my crispy vector presets. And the cool thing about doing this, well, I guess you could do it other way, but when I have stuff that flows together like this, I will sometimes just draw lines as far as I can to continue them. So what I mean by that is like, I'm going to draw this A and then go right into this S. And that way it's just going to kind of flow together really well. And it also will allow me to make this top line a little bit more interesting and flowy. And I can sort of adjust as needed after the fact. But I can do the areas that are a little bit tricky first, as I've mentioned I like to do. And it can help me be more intentional with the way these letters fit together. So like now I draw this and it's matching that line above. And like here where that Z and the A are going to end. And then like that part. And now it's going to just fit together a lot tighter and look just nice and tight. See, then we can connect that. Look at all these connections. It's going to make it feel nice and cohesive. And then let's do this curve here. And I want to make this leg of the R a little bit wider. So I'm going to draw this line following that. Go like that. And then bring it down further to also act as the bottom line of the L. And then I'll draw this all together too, even though we're not going to use the bottom for the O, but it'll still make that continuation from the S to the L work out pretty well. So we're going to have to do a little cleanup in a minute so this doesn't get completely chaotic, but it's fun to make all these connections. And I'll show you how I'm going to deal with it in a minute. All right, let's do, well, I don't know. I was going to do some cleanup now, but I think I'm not ready. But it could get confusing. This might very well get confusing in a minute, but I think it's going to pay off. So just wait for it. Just have faith in me. Does anyone else hear a bird in the background? I apologize. Yeah, there was a tweeting bird. I will settle for a tweeting bird because last Friday we had a bird dive bombing my window over and over again. So I apologize for the tweeting. Though I think it's not happening now. So if you still hear tweeting, it is not my window. Or not my bird. Not my bird, not my circus. Not my monkeys. How's that phrase go? Hey, anyone smashed a like recently? Anyone slammed the subscribed? Anyone ringing bells? You guys ring bells ever? Got any bell ringers in the house? Sorry for the people in the vertical stream. So I'm streaming simultaneously vertical and horizontal, and I can't really track the comments as well on the vertical stream because there's a lot in the horizontal one. I would encourage you to head over to my channel and come into the horizontal version to get the full effect of what's happening here. All right, I promise we'll do some cleanup in a minute on this so it's a little bit more clear and less pandemonium as it is right now, because this looks kind of crazy. But I think it's going to be very satisfying when it comes through. I just know I'm going to need some of them for the other lines, so I'm trying to do as much as possible for that. All right, I think we can trim some stuff off. So I'm going to fill these in solid, so I'm not worried about the internal ones. One thing to remember about the vector trimming is that if you use the paint fill on something that you're wanting to vector trim, it like combines it, so it won't work. So you want to wait to do any sort of paint bucket fill until you're sure you're done with the trimming. I've learned that the hard way a few times. So anything that's already fully disconnected from other shapes, for example, this N, and like we can fill those ones in so we can get a feel for how that's going to look. So I can fill that in. Can't do the N yet because it's attached to the O. This L is fully detached. That's good. Okay. Draw these lines together so that they are cohesive. And we got this Z. And then top part of the Z. It gets a little confusing. I don't know if it's extra confusing for those of you watching, but I don't know what to say. I guess it just is confusing. But I think it'll make sense once it all comes together. Okay, so let's trim out. Now I think I want the H to come down here, and then the L can go like that. Then let's draw this O. That way we can get rid of this extra stuff and fill in these other letters, and it'll be a little less confusing. Oops. It also helps me to see where I need to add stuff. Okay, so there was I noticed here that we need this separation for the R, and then we need the rest of this Z. Just draw that in manually. And then let's just draw this O to the shape of the negative space that's left. And then just keeping the counter part of the O centered so that it still reads like an O. I'm just going to round this top out a little bit. And now the rest of these letters. So I'll probably just have to manually draw in some of this O, and then we can also go in and erase some extra parts if we need to afterwards. Let's pull that in. Let's draw this other O. So when you have O's that curve like this, that could inadvertently read like a D, as long as you keep the center cut out, like right in the center, it helps to not read like a D and read like an O. Same here. You just want to think, when you're like distorting letters, you want to think about what is like the thing that makes them specifically that letter. And make sure you're accentuating that and not taking that part of it away. If that makes sense. To go into more detail on that in my intro to illustrative lettering Skillshare class if you're interested. And I also have a bunch of lettering videos on my channel that you can check out that talks about that stuff. So this does not work anymore because I filled it in. I filled in the A, so I'm not going to be able to trim that with the vector trim tool. So I'll just have to erase it, no big deal. But that's what I'm talking about with the, if you use the paint fill before you're done trimming. All right, let's just trim off this extra part, separate these letters. And I think we will be done with this one, which was a little bit of a battle, but I think it's going to pay off. All right, let's turn off that sketch and then come in and erase this little notch. Well, we got to make sure we're on the right layer. Okay. And let's just make sure everything's looking good. There's a weird little lump there. The P is a little bit odd. I think I want to just redo this top part a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do it on a new layer just in case. And then I just want to make it a little bit, it was a little too like squared off and was almost reading like, I don't know, almost like an F or something. Whoops. Okay, that's better. And now I just want to add a little bit of a curve to the top there just to follow that shape a little bit like the rest of them. I think that looks kind of cool. One quick adjustment here is this O, it looks, everything else is really tight together and this one looks a little bit far away. So what I want to do is move it in closer and then just erase a little bit there. So it just fits like a puzzle with the rest of them. All right. You've just got so much, so many things in here. The chat is a lot harder to notice in this one. I need a moderator. I need a co-host. All right, let's go to the top of the chat. Let's just make sure that there's no more super chats that are cutting the line. Next up is, drum roll, please. Let me switch back to my pencil. The Retro Supply Co. Scumbler, which is my go-to sketching brush from their liner set. Link below. Also, my vector presets that I've been using for this whole video. You can find in my shop. You can use promo code LIVE to get 20% off. I think this might have to be the last one because it's getting late. My stomach's making crazy noises and I have a client call at 1 o'clock. So, gotta do that. So the next up is Lori. So is that, okay, so it's almost the same. We're just switching one letter. I feel like I need to do something. Oh, I kind of like the way this LA situation is happening. So because this is the same for each, maybe, you know what? We already changed the rules and colored this one. I'm going to do something different than I've ever done in one of these drawing names live streams because I have an idea. All right, so let's move this over. Let's make a new layer and let's draw something. I don't know. My hand is just stuck in wiggly mode from doing Alfonso's name. Maybe we can do like a different version. Maybe it's like sort of like script. Maybe it's like a mix. I don't know. What are we doing? What's happening here? Again, this is the rough playing stage, so stop judging me. You just give me a break. You just let me play. I kind of like the way that fits together. So all right, let's see if we can make this more fun. What are we doing here? What is happening? Oh, I wanted to do that, I think. And then this L, maybe. Okay, so my plan is to do this one where I just draw Laura and then do like a simple little morph animation where the eye morphs into an eye. I'm sorry that I can't do Chaco as first come, first serve, and you are not at the beginning of the chat. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger and let's do a tighter version. I'm going to switch to the Retro Splico Classic Anchor because this one is going to be pixel based because I'm doing it in motion. Smoothing it up. Let's make my brush a little bit bigger. And let's draw it in. Okay, just kind of getting these letters to fit nicely, just kind of the same as I did with the other one, but just a little more of a kind of fluffy, whimsical style, I guess. I don't know. Almost like bubbly letters or something. A little, I don't know, a little cuter than the Alfonso one, but a similar way to do it. Okay, so let's bring that color margin up so we don't get any weird halos. All right, so what I'm gonna do is make a quick loop of this since we're gonna morph it. So I'm gonna come down to the motion timeline thing at the bottom, and then I'm gonna hit a new frame, and then I'm just gonna trace it twice quickly to get like a line boil effect, which just kind of makes it wiggle. So I'll do this as fast as I can, trying to stay accurate so it's not too wonky. But get some wiggle. While I'm tracing this, did you subscribe to my channel? Have you hit the like button? It does a lot to make YouTube know to share my videos. Also, I am currently in the process of a series of introduction to Fresco videos that are very beginner friendly, and they're like deep dives into specific things. The first two are out, and one is a deep dive into all the different kinds of brushes in Fresco, including like vector, pixel, live brushes, how to adjust the settings and make your own brushes, control the brushes, and then The other one is a deep dive on layers and all the different things you can do with them, different ways you can blend them together. There's actually 6 different kinds of layers in Fresco. Can you believe that? That's a lot. So those are up on my channel, and I'm doing another one, which maybe will come out not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. This Tuesday's video is a fun one where I redraw a bunch of X-Men characters in the style of SpongeBob, so they look like they could be in SpongeBob, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It's very silly. It was very funny to draw these characters. For example, I used Plankton as reference for Wolverine. I thought that was a very fitting one. Squidward is Cyclops. It's pretty funny, and you can actually see the full illustration on my Instagram. To get a sneak peek on Instagram, it's just Chris Piascik. And if you spell it sort of close, you'll probably find it, because it'll probably suggest it. Okay, so the point of tracing this twice so that we have 3 of them is that we can have a nice line boil. So what that does is when we hit play, you get this little wiggle. And there's one little area that I think is too much, and it's this jump in the R, because this first one is a little bit shorter. So I just want to fix that one because it doesn't look as natural of a rhythm as the rest of it. But I think that's pretty good. So that's how you just make a natural line boil. You just need 3 frames to do this. If you just did 2, it would look like a flashing, but 3 has a good rhythm to it. So yeah, so sorry, I'm just trying to see the chat. I realized that I had not scrolled down, and I saw Laura saying, "Can you do Ryan?" And I am sorry, it is too late. Glad your mom likes it though. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is morph it into Lori. So instead of redrawing it again, I'm going to duplicate the first frame and bring that over. And then I'm going to take the second one and bring that over. The reason I'm doing this is so that this loop, this 3-frame loop, repeats. So I'm going to put that over there. And now I'm going to come in here and select this A and erase it. Do the same for this one, and then this last one, erase. Okay, cool. So now on this layer, we've got this A, and what we want to do is just slowly turn it into an I. So I think the easiest thing to do would be to just sort of lean into this shape that's already within, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is just kind of move it a little bit closer towards an I. And I think that will start to make sense when you see what I'm doing. So I'm just trying to make this more of like a vertical thing, but like slowly, so it's not abrupt. So I'm just making that A a little bit skinnier. And now on this one, I'm going to change this setting so we only see 1 frame. Now we can just use this and make that a little bit closer to an eye. So we can start to fill in that space, bring that down, bring that in a little bit. Like that. And now we can like maybe start to pull it in a little bit more. Tuck it in like that. And then I think I want to slowly bring this R in a little bit so it fits better with the eye because there's not that extra space. Okay, and now we just need a loop of this, and I don't want to have to draw the other letters 3 times, so I'm going to duplicate this that 3 loop sequence again. So duplicate, and then this one. So it's just that those first 3 frames duplicated again, and now I can come in here and just only have to draw the eye to get that loop. Who knew I was going to do motion today? Not me. Not me at all. Okay, so now we can just trace this eye for each of these frames. I'll go in and use the paint fill afterwards. Okay, dot, dot, dot. Okay, so that morphs like that. And we can set this to boomerang so that it goes back and forth. So we can hit play. Now we got the A turn into the I. How fun. Simple little morph. Fun little thing. Sorry that it's not Ryan. I hope you all enjoyed this. Let's come back and see the others. Let's see it all together one last time. Let's merge this over. Just there we go. So I can feel like I did all this stuff. This has been a lot of fun. Again, I live stream every Friday, new videos every Tuesday. Smash the thumb on the way out. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Do the stuff. You're all the best. Shout out to my channel members. If you are a channel member, check the community tab because I just added a whole bunch of desktop wallpapers and mobile wallpapers to the members only page. And we do Google Hangouts every month for members. So check out you'll see the new one announced soon. Okay. Thank you all. This has been fun. If I drew your name and you want me to send it to you, just shoot me an email. Okay. Bye, everyone.